Friday, the 5th of July. Welcome, everyone. This is your Frontier Opening Bell. We're ending up the market week, the first in the month of July, and of course, effectively, the third quarter, and of course, the second half of the year. Let me walk you through a few market numbers for Thursday. The Zimbabwe stock market continued on a very strong trajectory, up 1.23%. On Thursday, the GSE in South Africa was up by roughly 0.5%. 81,155 took that higher from Wednesday, finishing around 80,000. The resources, financials, and industrials finished in the green. In Nairobi, East Africa, the Kenyan market bucked by 0.29%. The Egyptian market finished off for the week, Cairo, Thursday, 0.72%. That's about 0.75% in the green territory, 28,000 for the EGX. The BRVM in Cote d'Ivoire came back from a 0.29% negative Wednesday and did about 0.1%. Took that out of Wednesday decline into Thursday. Let's see what today's trading day for the week, for the final week day of the week looks like. Our Nigerian market took a profit booking about 0.25%. The shares of MTN Nigeria was sharply lower, finishing 200 naira on the trading board. Thursday, also UPDC Real Estate was also down by about 8.25%. The banking sector, however, remained very strong, 2.1% in the green. Oil and gas came in with about 4% to support the banking sector Thursday. And those just the numbers for Thursday. Let's take it down and look at some of the headlines east of the continent. What are you looking at? What am I looking at right now, Friday? The EU reporting that its warships are now docked around Somalia because the specter of piracy has resurfaced on the Somalian waters. No thanks to the diversion of cargo vessels going through the Red Sea, through the corridor where the Houthis are attacking our vessels now going down through the Somalia waters. We've seen piracy subsided significantly over the last few years, but with the latest Gaza, Hamas-Israel offensive now going into Lebanon with the Hezbollah, all that is beginning to rev up piracy around Somalia waters. Those pirates are back in business. And that's no good news for the global maritime industry and security, by the way, for the Horn of Africa. Let's move on. Kenya reporting the economy is slowing down 0.5% to 5% in the first quarter, January to March. The Kenyan government will still be counting its losses from the recent deadly protests against the finance bill for 2024. There's going to be a face-to-press today, an online discussion between President Ruto and members of his cabinet with members of the public to discuss the finance bill and what's been done to mitigate the recent youth protests in which at least about 35 people are reportedly dead. In the meantime, the manufacturers are shouting because Kenya and Uganda have onboarded a 10% duty on imported palm oil. That's a big story. Again, because this is all come from Malaysia and a few other key palm oil producers in the world, and that is no good news for manufacturers using palm oil as a base for other products like soap, cosmetics, toiletry, whatever, across Uganda and Kenya. In the meantime, Uganda's public accountants yesterday flagged off a 2-day conference to look at the state of the Ugandan economy, the recent policies of the Museveni's administration, and the way forward. The meeting was attended by top officials within the Ugandan economy, including the vice president, calling for a better use of the country's economic resources. She spoke yesterday at the opening formalities. And Tanzania has announced a new single window system for businesses in the country. That sounds like what Nigeria recently onboarded as well. Let's cross to West Africa, grab a few news, and I'm sure you've seen the headlines already. Nigeria has won the bid, a highly competitive bid, to host the headquarters of the African Energy Bank, starting off with $5 billion. The African Energy Bank was the brainchild of the African Petroleum Producers Organization, the APPO, the African version of OPEC, if you want to put it that way. They've got the Afrexim Bank and the African Union putting their weight behind the new bank. Date was signed into establishment establishment just a few weeks ago in Cairo, Egypt, at the headquarters of Afrexim Bank. Now, the headquarters situated in Nigeria will be a game changer for Africa, trying to save some of its oil windfalls, including gas as well, to support investments within that sector. There's a whole lot more that the African Energy Bank will bring to the table. Yesterday as well, we heard from President Tinubu formally announcing a 2 trillion naira economic stabilization program. The whole idea is to support the economy with 2 trillion naira within the next 6 months. And the president, of course, inaugurated a committee or a council that will superintend that, including having on board Tunde Lumelu, the likes of Aliko Dangote, some of Nigeria's entrepreneurs and businessmen and multi-billionaires. By the way, those are the president's men to move the 2 trillion naira economic stabilization program forward. And Dangote refineries yesterday closed the tenders for crude oil deliveries into its multi-billion-dollar refinery sitting out of the Lagos backwaters. Senegal ships its first crude oil out of Sangoma oil fields. We say congratulations to Senegal joining Africa's oil producing or exporting countries. And Fidelity Bank of Ghana is doing about 1 million Cedis behind the agric value chain in the country. And those are your headlines here at the West Coast. Let's move on to Southern Africa and grab a few headlines, with Zimbabwe securing $31.8 million in fresh funding from the ARC. The African Risk Capacity is a subsidiary created by the African Union to support countries in terms of insurance and reinsurance support across Africa. Zimbabwe is going through El-Nino's drought, such as well as Zambia and a few other countries, Malawi within the Southern Africa space. But the latest from the ARC goes to Emerson Mnangagwa's administration in Zimbabwe. In the meantime, South African Airways is looking to add additional 64 destinations to its number of to this schedule of routes. Again, as the company looks to rebound and rebuild its operations across Africa and around the world. Botswana's local beef says they're set for dominance within the European Union markets, while Interpol Holdings, which is an insurer, the government business entity, got 900 million Namibian dollars from RMB Bank to support its operations within the country. And finally, Mozambique finance minister have told the insurance companies in the country to cover non or low income population. Says there's a need to increase level of what's called inclusiveness of insurance products and services within the country. Let's move it to North Africa. Egypt's going to get a new finance minister. That's already in the news. Mohamed Maït will be replaced. But of course, we've got a new minister also within the energy space for the North Africa's biggest economy. And that's also coming from President El-Sisi's administration. But of course, when you look within the region, you find a number of core economic headlines coming out of countries such as Morocco, including Tunisian stock market, reporting an index jump within in the first few months, in the month of June. Tunisia stock market reporting about a 2.5% index jump, 11.15% since the year started. A turnover within the period under review was 57.7%. In the meantime, Tunisia's central bank has reported how much it spent last year to print banknotes and mint coins, and that makes a total of 3.9 million dinars. That's sharply low in terms of expenditure over 2022 period, where that figure was about 21 million dinars. And Morocco is looking to raise its airport's capacity to 80 million passengers by the year 2035. That would take it from 40 million passengers, where it is currently. That's across the country, by the way. And finally, Egypt's reporting is external debt at $160 billion in the month of March. That's at the end of the first quarter. And those are your headlines. Do have a great weekend, everyone. It's a Friday. Thank God it's a Friday. Thank God we all made it to the end of the business and markets week. I'll see you back on Monday on the show. Bye for now, everyone.